Welcome, everybody, to Funeral Nation, episode 242. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbison. I am Ryan Thogmartin, and this is the funeral profession's only news, web show, weekly content that is giving you the pulse of the funeral profession and the voice and what's happening out here.
It is absolutely the pulse. And one thing that's wonderful and quite frankly unusual, we are both in our homes today. However, I'm leaving this afternoon. So we're getting this knocked out. So today's kind of a cool day. It's Valentine's Day. So all you funeral directors out there, for your love of your life, make sure and recognize them. And don't forget, they're the ones that make it happen for you. It's a nice place to come home to when somebody loves you. How about you in your house? You have 3 girls, so you have like triple the duty, right?
Yeah, I have 3 Valentines, so I had to make sure I had all the right notes in all the right places this morning.
Good man. And look, and don't intermingle those. That could be quite different. Hey, and this morning too, it's post Super Bowl Monday. In fact, today is National Hangover Day. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Some of my friends and neighbors that we were out last night at the pool watching the Super Bowl took today off to celebrate.
There you go. And I just think, people want to know why we live in Arizona. You just said you watched the Super Bowl in a pool. So there's not very many places in the country could have done that last night. So.
And it was gorgeous here yesterday, wasn't it? We had the Waste Management Open out here. And
I was at the tournament. It was fantastic. Got to hang out with a bunch of funeral people at the tournament, which was good. So.
Speaking of funeral people, I got to hang out with Jamie Meredith now for the last 2 weeks, and we have 2 more weeks ahead of us. He's going to meet me in Atlanta. And so there's nobody better than the C&J team, and getting to spend time with Jamie has been awesome. Let's go ahead and run our promo there.
We may be the largest insurance assignment company in the funeral profession, but that doesn't mean we've lost touch with our roots. Here in Rainbow City, Alabama, our priorities still come down to a welcoming smile and a handshake that says we keep our promises. With all the tools and technologies that assure blazing fast turnaround, what really matters is much more old school. Personal responsibility, integrity, relationships, and the pride that comes from hearing yet another client say, "You came through for us when it mattered." C&J eliminates the challenges that funeral homes have in processing insurance death claims. If cash flow is vital to your business, welcome home.
Awesome. All right, Jeff. Well, give us a rundown of your last couple of weeks, because you have been all over kind of the East, and you've been with Jamie, and you guys have been doing some trainings and things. But I always like it when both of us are on the road, because we're usually in different parts of the country, and we're getting different conversations from different parts of the country of kind of what's happening in the space.
Interesting. I have been all over the place. And what I'm finding and hearing, and just from this is my own opinion, that we have a ton of great, I'm not going to say young, because that means age. I'm talking about newer funeral professionals. Can I say it that way? Less tenured funeral professionals. And at each spot that I've been to and I trained with, I spoke at West Virginia a couple of weeks ago. They are intuitive. They're in tune to what's going on. They are seeking, and also they're really good at what they're doing. I mean, I was super impressed. I met some folks a couple of weeks ago and last week, young ladies. Let me tell you what, young ladies out there in the funeral profession, y'all got it going on. I have seen some that are just phenomenal at doing a great job. That's not saying that young men haven't and aren't, but I just specifically, it just worked out that I was working with a lot of younger ladies last week in the business, and they're just fantastic. So, I do feel a little bit of working with our more tenured group that with some folks, it's time to let go.
Yeah.
Maybe retire and do something different that you enjoy. There's nothing worse to hear negativism or, hey, guess what? Times are changing, is different. And if you don't embrace that, if nothing else, don't try to stop it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just roll along. I mean, I've got the opportunity tomorrow. I'm going to be at Gupton Jones in Georgia. I'm going to get to see LaShawn and some of his classmates. And I'm excited for what I see of our future out here.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of folks
good.
saying negative stuff, but
Yeah.
y'all are wrong. Bottom line.
That's so good. I mean, again, one of the things that we pride ourselves on the show is that we don't make the news. We just bring you what we're seeing and what we're experiencing. And it's so true. I get to, one of the things that we talk about with social media a lot is the change and that conversation. Clients that got on board 3 years ago, it's massively different than it was then to now, and the changes and the processes and the language and how we do things it's always evolving. And I see far too many times where somebody is holding on so tight thinking they're protecting the business for the next generation, but what they're really doing is stifling the growth now that's going to put them further behind and really put them behind the 8 ball, because we're in a position now where this profession has got to move, and you don't really have the choice of whether you're going to or not. You're going to have to, if you want to be in an existence and you want to have the continued legacy. So it's just interesting. The future is bright. I just had a conversation this morning with a client that's a millennial, 36-year-old owner, operator, large firm, and is going to be speaking at NFDA on communicating with the millennial generation and how to leverage the power of a millennial in a funeral home, because they get looked down on a lot. And there's a lot of bright ideas, and they're in the trenches using all the tools on a daily basis, and being able to listen to those ideas and then apply them to the death care space. Like, they're really speaking to the next generation of customer, and that's super, super important.
Yes. And I see they're just as empathetic, to families. They love on families. But frankly, this is a technology business we're moving into.
Yeah.
And the ability to navigate on simple things is not a necessity anymore. So if we flip the script, right, and we were hiring folks that don't do well on a computer, and let's say all things are equal, and that's the differentiator, I'm hiring the one that has a technology base today.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself speaks lots of where we're going. But I'm really proud of them. I think that the more and more I'm out here in the field, the more I'm seeing, and not at conventions where you're talking and you hear ideas. I mean, actually seeing them in their funeral home doing work, what they've achieved, the processes they use. You know what? We're in good hands. And a couple of weeks ago, we actually had a show on 241 where we talked about the educational requirements hurting us. The powers that be, y'all got to make some changes out here, because it just doesn't make any sense when we're struggling to get good people in the field. And as you said, trying to make preventative measures to quote, protect it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not going to fly.
No, sure isn't. And if you didn't watch 241, go back and watch it. We'd love to hear your take on it. Jeff and I both have gotten a lot of messages and emails, and have had numbers of follow-up conversations of, you guys are right. You nailed it. You hit it on the head. I can't say that out loud, but I agree. And
I don't want to post it on LinkedIn, but dude, that was you're right on.
That's it.
So you were at Cana over in Las Vegas this week. They had a symposium.
Yeah, they had the Cana Symposium, which it was great to be back in person and to see some people and shake some hands and hug some necks, which is always nice. While we were there, Vegas dropped their mask order, so that's awesome for the upcoming ICCFA convention next month. But Cana was great. Attendance was pretty good. The conversation was fantastic. The content, I'm going to say, from a content perspective, out of everything virtual and in person that I've been to in the last 12 months, which has been a ton of virtual things, the content was the best of anything. And it really focused on the importance of a company's story and telling their story and connecting on a relationship level through story with the consumer. And, that's some of the stuff that you and I have talked about heavily for the last few years on this show, is funeral homes really getting transparent and being authentic to who they are and their personnel and their team. Because at the end of the day, we know that 80% of funeral business is relationship driven. So if we're not telling a story and we're not connecting, it's a lot more than dollars and cents with the consumer. And we tended to make it about dollar and cents, and it's not dollar and cents at all. It's the story and the relationship that people connect with, and how you provide value. So that was the theme of the day and a half of content, and it was fantastic. There were presenters from inside the space, presenters from outside of Deathcare, and it was really, really aligned. I still chuckle when I hear a topic around of how to embrace and make money with cremation. And you and I have addressed that many times. Like, if you haven't figured it out yet, the time has passed you up. See you
There's
later.
56% of the country does it, and you're just clinging on for that other, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think this direction that we're headed in the next 5 or so years is a positive one, where some of that stuff is starting to fall off now,
Yeah.
And I go back to the energy of our newer people coming in. They bring great energy in. And so who knows what we have ahead, but kudos to, once again, I'm one of the older guys in this business. More senior, tenured in the business, but I'm really proud of what we see coming up behind us. I really am.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. It's you said it in a text message last week when we were communicating. There's no better time to be in this business, and working with funeral professionals and being a funeral professional and serving. The opportunities are massive, and there's a lot of opportunities coming down the pipe in the next 5 years for those that want to go get it and want to grow and be progressive and kind of grab this thing by the horns.
I agree with you. Well, speaking of the horns, we've got a lot going on this morning. Mine are starting to flare off in the future. We had Reveille early this morning, so I'm going to have to get rolling. But anyway, thanks, Ryan. Always great to see you. Next week, we start with our new format. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Next week, we'll roll out a new format, and we've got some great partners that are rolling with us, so it's going to be good.
All righty. Well, y'all take care. And Ryan, are you at home all week, or are you traveling?
I am home till Friday, and then I go to Kansas City for a presentation. So this is 4 days in a row at home, which has not happened in 5 weeks. So it's pretty exciting.
I'm with you. I had this morning, so that's it.
There you go. All right, sir. Well, hey, safe travels to you. And until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.